one, go. Starting your SQL journey is a bit tough for a lot of people, and that's why I'm going to make a YouTube playlist for those who have beginning their SQL journey, and you can just follow along if you still want to just refresh your knowledge about SQL. So in this tutorial, I'll be giving you brief introductions to certain aspects of SQL that you need to know as an SQL developer or as an SQL user. The following topics are what we're going to discuss. Simple topics like the definition of SQL, where we use it and why we use it. What is an RDBMS? I'm sure you've heard of this one, but you might not really understand what it is. And I'm going to try and break it down as I can for you. And then we're going to deal with common keywords in SQL, the select, from, where, as, dix, ask, group by, order by, limit. Is that the bulk of all? Well, I think that's basically what I'll be discussing in this video. So let's get to it. For starters, what is SQL? Well, SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is a language for querying data in DBMS. And you're probably realizing that I'm reading from my screen right now. And you're like, why is she reading from her screen? Well, it's majorly because I have broken down the definition of SQL into these simple lines, okay? And if you just read this, I'm sure you get a hang of it, but I'll still discuss further. So, it is the language of databases. So, say you want to speak French with a French person, you're going to speak French, right? And if you want to speak Spanish, you're going to speak Spanish, right? Just to communicate better, right? And let's say you want to say good morning in Spanish, you're going to be like buenos dias, right? Well, with SQL, SQL is your English language, it's your French, it's your Spanish. And wherever you want to use it, in a database, that is where you're going to work with it. So SQL is like your normal language, and the database is who you're trying to communicate with or what you're trying to communicate with. And SQL helps you do that. It's actually a programming language that helps to communicate with databases, right? Now, the most important question, what exactly is a database? Like, we've been saying this a lot of times, but like, what does it mean? Well, a database, it's like a group of tables just joined together in a big file. Okay, so relational database management system is actually what RDBMS stands for, and it's an application used to store and manage data in a structured way. And we usually say that data in the database management system is always accurate, and that is true. Yes, that is true. But why are they related? Well, there are always similarities between the tables. So it's not just one table that is there. There are like two, three tables in a database. You understand that a database is a very big file, and tables are what are inside. They're containing different information that are all related to that database. So let's say I'm talking about a company. I'm talking about a company name, uh tissue, a company that runs a tissue production. Yeah, you get me. And then I need data concerning that particular company. I need the data about the workers. I need the data about the type of tissue we're producing. I need a data about who is on leave, who is not on leave. I need data about those who are working remotely, those who are always coming in. I need all those data, and all those data are grouped together, okay? And they are all related because they share relationships. That's why we call them relational database management systems. I hope you've understood that part. So you've probably heard about MySQL, Postgres SQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server. They are all types of relational database management systems. And basically, you're going to use Excel. Sorry, did I say Excel? You're going to use SQL to work with them. If you have a basic understanding of how Excel works, then SQL will not be too hard for you. It'll still be hard, trust me. But it's not going to be like brand new to you. You're going to have a little bit of understanding about it. Now, there are few things I would like you to know. Okay, The database in a relational database model system or a relational database system is stored in database objects, and those objects are called tables. So think Excel, think of A1, B2, B3, think of that, and then realize that a table is a collection of related data entries and it consists of rows and columns. And when you think about that, you're thinking about, like I said, A1, A2, B1, B2, right? Now, every table is broken up into smaller entities called fields and records, right? And think of field as a column and record as the row. And that is it. That is the basic understanding of a database system. So the fields that we're going to hold or maintain specific information inside, and then the records, like the entries that exist in that particular field. So let's say, still talking about our tissue company, right? We're going to have a field, or you can call it a column, that talks about the type of tissues that this company produces, right? And then the record or a row is now going to have individual entries like organic tissue, plastic tissue. Is there something like plastic tissue? But you get what I'm trying to say. Um, we're going to have different types of tissues, those that are made of fiber, those that are made of paper. All in all, they're just going to be listed under that particular field or column named tissues the company produces. And that is it. So, that being said, I want to go into the common keywords that you're going to use when you are working with SQL. Okay. So, for that, um, we're going to start with the first one. Now, remember that I said speaking in SQL is like SQL is the English language, right? So you're not really going to go and type, I want this from this table and I want it now. It's not going to work that way. There are certain keywords that we're going to use, just like when you want to say good morning in Spanish, you're going to be like buenos dias. With SQL, you're going to type in something else that SQL understands. So these keywords are words that SQL actually understands and can interpret. The first one is the select statement. The select statement is used to extract data from the database. So let's just say you are a beginner, you're basically going to be using select. Even as an advanced or a mid programmer or a mid user of SQL, you are going to be using select very often. Select is like the basic building block of every SQL code or queries. So whatever you're going to write, it's with the keywords. It's what we call SQL query. When you hear querying the database, you're using SQL to query a database. And the first part of it is usually the select statement. Now, it usually comes with an asterisk, or you can tell the system exactly what you want. So you can say select asterisk, and asterisk here means all. I will go into that later, maybe in another video. I'm going to break down the operators and aggregators that you see in an SQL statement. So you're going to have select asterisk, and asterisk means all, right? So you're going to have that, and then if you decide that, oh, I don't want to see everything about the tissue company, I just want to see on the name of the tissue, you'll be like select name of tissue. Okay, that's that. Now, when you select data, or when you ask the system that you want to see this data, you're probably going to be asking the next question, where exactly is this data going to come from? That's where the from statement comes in. So the from statement is also used for extraction, and it will tell the database which data I want and where it is located. So I want data about the types of tissue, right? But I want it from the tissue table or the tissue database. So when you're working with MySQL or Postgres or all those different RDBMS, you're going to have different type of databases inside there. Ones that are not even relating to tissue company. You're going to have those relating to stock markets and stock market, school, what else and what if, and you want to work with the data from the tissue company, okay? And that's why you're going to tell the system select all this data I want from the tissue company. So it's going to come in this format. Select asterisks if you want everything to show from DBO companies. So let's say I want everything to come from the tissue company, right? This is how it's going to seem. And the DBO, don't be scared. DBO doesn't really have anything. It just means database. Okay? So basically, this has your information is always going to come out. And as you're typing, it will even give you a clearer view and give you a quicker intelligence. Intelligence will work very well for you, and you see this, and it's easy to just hit the tab key and it's loaded. In a tutorial video of how to actually use these things I'm teaching to work on an SQL server, I will explain it more. Then the next part we're going to talk about is the where statement. The where statement is giving a filter or a criteria for querying data to give us exactly what we want as the result. So we're talking about the tissue database, right? And in the tissue database, we have different tables. We have tables of workers, tables of those on leave, tables of type of tissue we're creating. I want to see a certain worker. So maybe Maggie hasn't come to work for 3 days. Okay, she hasn't come to work for 3 days, and I want to know where exactly is she? What is she doing? Did she take a leave, or is she sick and can't call it in? So I'm going to be like, select all the data or select workers information from the tissue company database where name of worker is equals to Maggie, right? And it's going to show me. And then when I see Maggie's information, it's quite easy for me to scroll down to the left or to the right and see Maggie's information under the leave section. If she's on leave, if she's not on leave, if she has been sick, absent for the past 3 days. And this is exactly what it looks like when you think about it. So like I said, just select all from where, and this one's showing me the ID of a certain worker in the company whose ID is 1. So just like Maggie, and if I need Maggie's details, I'll be like equals to Maggie, and it's going to give me Maggie's details immediately. It's quite easy, I must say. So we have descending and ascending, basically just whatever you're doing and you want it in a neater way, you want to see it in an ascending or a descending manner, you're going to give this, you're going to add it to your code, and it's going to bring out that result in that manner. So this is another one. This is the as statement. I forgot to tell you about this earlier. It's used to give a new name to an already existing table name in the database. So remember that in a database we have tables and we have tables, right? And then we have fields and rows, right? And those are the records, sorry, fields and records, and those are the columns and the rows, right? So every column and row has a table name in the database. We have table name for those for workers, table name for names of tissue, table name for those on leaves. You understand me? And all those are going to be part of it. So we need Maggie's information. Okay, we need Maggie's information. But before we can write workers for tissue company, it's going to be a whole lot of writing. And we don't want that. We want it quick and sharp. Okay, so we're going to go with um as and give the thing another name. We're going to give a table another name of like workers. Simple. So when the results is coming out, it's going to have a new name, workers, and then everybody under workers are going to show. Everybody that was under workers in the tissue company is going to show up as workers. Now, what you need to know is that this does not affect the original name in the database. It's still going to be names of workers in the database. But for our query, for what we're just looking for, Maggie's information right now, it's going to show us workers, okay? This is how it looks like. So we just change the simple name and give it a new name. Simple. Another part that you need to understand is the group by statement. So that adds a criteria for querying data to give exact result by finding similar parts of data and bringing out an app you write. But then you need to understand that query data, it's so big, and you really need it to come grouped together with maybe the ID of everybody in the company, so it's easier to know, oh, it belongs to this person, it belongs to that person, so you don't make a mistake, right? So when you bring out your data, be like group by group it by the IDs or group it by the names. Okay, for beginners, for absolute beginners, this isn't really going to affect you, but it will in if you're steady with your study, it will in the next 1 month, but or even 3 weeks or 2 weeks. But but it's still good to have an idea about it, and that's why I included it in this video. A quick one: if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do so you do not miss the next video about our SQL series, because I'm going to have a playlist where I'm going to be talking about a lot of things relating to SQL. And we're going to have another one, which is the order by statement. The order by statement is same thing as group by, but this time around we are allowing it to show us exactly what we want. So we are like telling you, I want you to order it by this particular parts. Okay, and it's similar to sorting in SQL. Sorry, that's the SQL. It's similar to sorting in Excel or other spreadsheet packages like Google Sheets. So there's that. So if you want to sort, you don't write sorting in SQL. Rather, you use order by. That's basically it. And this is an example of how it works. So we have select all from the company's database, and we're going to order it by the company ID. So when our result is coming out, it's coming out as company ID. Okay. And the first column is going to be company ID, and then we're going to see the rest of everything we needed to see in descending order. And that's why I have descending on the screen, because now we're going to see everything in descending order. So descending, and that's just it. All right, the last one we're going to talk about is the limit. So for the limit statement, basically when you just want to see a few rules of data in your table, let's say we want to find out about Maggie, right? But then maybe we did not know about the order by, or we did not know about the group by, we did not know about sorting or filtering or ascending and descending. We just wanted to find Maggie's information. But then we realized that Maggie is like probably two or three. There are like two or three Maggies in the company with different surnames, but the same first name. And we're going to try and limit it. Okay, we're going to tell the system, I don't want to see everybody when I type in this information. I just want to see those whose name are Maggie. Do you understand? So we're going to say, um, select from where, select all, okay, from the company's table or the company's database, where name is equals to Maggie, right? And we're going to say limit by 3 or 2 or 1 or 5. So whatever information is going to come down is going to show us in 5 places. In this part is going to be really understandable when you're looking at the data live and direct, because when you're working with data, you need to be seeing what you're doing, right? So you understand if you're going the right path or not. So let's say we want to see just few parts of our data. We don't want to see everything, because then the processing speed might take a while and make our laptops laggy or our computer systems laggy or slow. So we want to just do a quick one, get few details. We're going to use the limit statement, and it's going to bring it out immediately, and it's going to give us the exact number of limited number of things we want to see. So if it's 3, if it's 2, if it's 1, we're going to see it. And with that being said, we have come to the end of this video. I want to thank you for coming through and watching along for the last